Good evening, everybody. It's very cosy. Very cosy.
Yeah,
I like this.
Nice.
And we're all branded up as well. So we're going to talk about Three Bridges youth structure. We're going to talk about it briefly. I'm going to introduce you to. Thanks everybody for tuning in, which is always a nice thing that you've got that little bit of time for us. So the couple of guys that I'm talking to and I'm interviewing this evening, kind of both ends of the scale really, if you like. So we've got Callum Donaghy, a lot of you will know exactly who he is, for better or for worse. And we've got the Three Bridges pin-up, Cameron Lawson. Used to be the pin-up ones, didn't you, mate?
Oh, yeah, it's the old days now.
Ages ravaged you. So we've also got Cameron Lawson here, Cameron, when did you start at Three Bridges? How old were you?
I was 5 when I started at Bridges.
5?
Yeah, 5 years
What
ago.
year was that then?
That would have been 2008.
And
2008, yeah.
and when did you start at Three Bridges?
I was 15, and
Really?
now I'm a little bit older than that.
A little bit.
Yeah, 31 now, so yeah, 16 years ago.
There you go, 16, on and off, which is interesting because obviously one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, do you think that coming through a youth structure, I'll ask you first, do you think that coming through a youth structure has given you a little bit more that you feel that it doesn't matter what youth structure, it could be Burgess Hill, it could be Crawley Town, it could be us, anybody, but do you think that coming through a youth structure bonds you to the club a little bit more than it would if you just travel around various clubs?
No, definitely, 100%. I mean, obviously I started here, like I said, at 15, and I've always found myself coming back here.
Like a bad penny.
I've had a couple of spells away, and Three Bridges has always been sort of close to my heart, innit? We've had our ups and downs throughout the years, I suppose.
We might talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, some fist fights. But yeah, no, I mean, like at all clubs, I think if you come through as a kid, they'll always sort of...
There's always a special place.
For sure, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I made my first team debut at like 15, maybe 16, and ever since then, you know, I've always...
You played with some great players as well that came through the youth as well. So, what about you? Same question. Do you think it gives you more of a lot? I mean, have you ever played anywhere else? You haven't, have you?
No, I haven't really played anywhere else. I played when we stopped playing on a Saturday, because I used to play Saturday and Sunday. I went and had a little spell with Cranley.
Cranley?
For about a season.
Right.
Yeah. But I was still playing with Bridges on the Sunday, so I do Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But no, apart from that, it's literally just been Bridges throughout my whole,
Oh, so how old did you say? So you were 5, and how old are you now?
So I'm 20 now, and I was
So that's
5 when I started. 15 years.
So
about
pretty similar
So
to
he
you.
started playing
Similar
for,
to you.
He started playing for Bridges when I made my first team debut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, 15,
That's
16 years
terrifying.
old.
That is terrifying. And now we've even got kids, like I say, as young as 5 and 6 years old, training.
Crazy.
And we'll be in a few years' time. We'll probably be sat here. You'll be sat that side.
Oh, that'd be me.
You'll be sat
somebody else.
and there'll be some kid that started at like 6, and you're 10 years on, and these same players are here. So we've got a good. I think we've got a good structure, wouldn't you? At youth team level, I think one of the big things that we've got at this football club is youth. I truly don't believe that teams that don't have a youth structure work out as well as our teams. But I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now as we go along. I'm going to ask you your best moment, you first. Your best moment, Bridges shirt. What was it? Doesn't matter. You.
100% this season, Lewis at home.
Do you know what? If I'd had a bet, that was going to be
100%.
You set the world alight that game.
Honestly, I think about that most days. Like, every
That's
time.
only a good game, that's why.
Only good game I've had this year. I think about it all the time.
But to be
Watching the
fair, no,
clips.
home and away, you're good on both of them.
Yeah, it was a good little experience anyway. Not just because I played well, but
It was a great FA Cup run, wasn't
It was a good little cup run this year.
And they're a massive club, Lewis, aren't they? So,
club,
to be fair, to bring them down here, and we did put them to the sword, didn't we? That
You look at that, I think they're in the playoffs for the Roman Prem now, so...
I mean, they're a good
side.
they're a top side, but FA Cup, I'm not being funny, but the love of the FA Cup is the fact it'll chuck up all kinds of things. So what about you then, Cal? What was your best ever moment in a Bridges shirt?
Quite a few, isn't there?
Yeah, no, there's been some good ones. Probably winning the league in a camp.
Who was your manager for that?
Paul. But no, definitely winning the league and the cup that season was pretty good. Had some good, away from results, we've had some pretty good moments in the Bridges shirt, sort of getting chased around the pitch and
So I need to explain. So for those that don't know,
So I need to know this.
yeah, because what game was that?
It's right when we won the league here. Actually.
No, they didn't chase you around that one. That was
it's away.
Isthmian League, and we were
Folkestone.
Folkestone away. The fans
2-0.
literally beat them 2-0, and I think they physically chased you around the pitch, didn't they? They couldn't get over the barrier.
Yeah.
But there was one fella throwing punches at you on your warm down.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but he, honestly,
It was phenomenal. I mean,
I think I made it worse when I was singing "Can We Play You Every Week?"
Yeah.
at the top of the league by about 15 points.
but they went. Didn't they go Prem?
They won the league. They won the league.
They went Prem that
Running
year.
around saying, "Can we play you every week?"
Yeah, but that was quite. What other, would you say you've been?
Yeah, I think.
How would you describe you as a character? I mean, that's.
Probably like Marmite, I reckon.
I know the feeling.
A few people like me and a lot of people hate me, I suppose, especially in and around football. But it is what it is. Like I like winning too much.
Too much?
Yeah, I
Not
like
too
winning
much.
too much. I'll do anything to win, basically.
Is that a bad thing?
That's
though?
a good thing, mate.
Yeah, I was going
That's
to
what you
say.
need. Yeah, if you're not having that attitude, then what's the point in playing in a sport?
I couldn't agree.
It's got to be like that. You play it to win, don't you? Like, you don't play it to lose.
Listen, when you're at youth team level, which obviously we're talking about now, but at youth team level, I love the fact that, you know, when you're very young, they don't really have leagues per se. They don't have divisions per se. There's no. I don't think it's a result based.
Bit of fun, innit?
Yeah, it's a bit of fun and develops the kids. I mean, don't get me wrong. One or two of parents can be a little bit lively.
Yeah.
I get them all the time.
But you coach kids as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you coach. So here's the thing. So you coach a side now. And what age are they?
Under 10 at the moment, I do.
So you joined at 5 years old. You're now
Yeah.
a regular first team player.
Yeah.
And now you coach at Three Bridges under 10s.
Yeah.
So listen to this then. In Holland, first team players are predominantly meant to go into their youth team structures and they're meant to coach youth teams. How do you think, as a person, do you think it's been beneficial for you to take an under 10 side, or last year was under 9 side last year, and don't get me wrong, they're a very successful side, they're a good team.
Yeah.
But how do you think it's benefited you as a person? Do you think it's made you a better person because of that?
It definitely made me a better person because, well, when I was growing up through Bridges, it was my dad taking the team and stuff like that, and I feel like I've then taken all that, what he's given me, and putting it into them, and it's really helping, like, in not just me, but it helps them when they start to get older and older, and they see like a familiar face and all that sort of stuff. When they're looking at me out there now, and now I'm in the same, I was in that position where they were 5-10 years ago.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do love
So I've been through what they've done, and then I'm at the end product, and then they're
Yeah,
looking
then,
at that.
here's a question then. So for both of you, so do you think, as first team players, that it would be beneficial for every first team player to adopt a kid's side? Do you think that would work? Do you think you would get, I mean, I know it's difficult, you've got a young baby now, but let's say it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I coached a lot when I was younger as well.
You still coach kids now every now and then, don't you?
Yeah, every now and then, sort of one-to-ones and stuff. But you know, years ago I used to coach kids. I loved it, but I do think, you know, asking a first team player, they've got other commitments away from football, you know, with family and stuff like that. But I think it'd be ledge if they did. You know, it'd be wicked if every sort of first team player or every senior player took a team. But then you're just committing yourself to playing on a Saturday.
It's a massive,
on a Sunday. So
I have to say, it's a massive commitment. And
yeah, it is.
I mean, what you do with the kids, it takes a lot of hours.
Yeah,
doesn't
it is tough. It is tough. It's literally a.
I mean, when you boys think about it, your dad took it over. Who was your manager at 15s?
Keith George, actually.
The legendary Keith
George.
George. Yeah, the legendary Keith George. That was a very successful side.
And Colin.
Oh yeah,
Sly,
I had Simon for a little while.
Did you?
Rollins,
Yeah,
and
nice
then
lad. He's the secretary here for youth.
I came training, and obviously we split into 2 teams, so I think he took one.
You're in the B team.
My dad told me. I actually probably was. I think I probably was.
We'll move to the sticks a bit sharpish.
You're in Three British Blacks. Not
I was never in. No, I got in the Amps a couple of years later.
But to be fair, I mean, I have to say, when you look at the youth team structures, a lot of youth teams, I'd say around the country, I'm not just talking about Three Bridges, but I would imagine, I know a lot of youth teams are started off by dads.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So here's the question for you. Without dads, I doubt very much if we would get as many youth teams out there. It's the dads and their
Definitely,
passion and their commitment and their money. Most of the time, it's the dad starts it, he puts a few £100 in, he gets a few footballs and bits and pieces like that.
Yeah,
So effectively, the dads are a godsend. But here's the question for you. Should there be a time when the dads take a step back and a more professional coach steps in to take them? What do you think on that? Because you're a coach. Effectively, you are a professional football coach, is what you do for a living.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because obviously when you're a little kid, obviously you love your football. You want your dad to be involved sometimes every now and again. But I think it's so good to have a different opinion from another coach, and it's not just all coming from your parents or whatever. So when you get other sort of opinions from your coaches and stuff like that, that's where you learn different things and you start to learn more. And I think that's where parents.
Well, but you've never been coached by your dad per se, have you? You've always been.
When I was very young, I did. When I was sort of 5 or 6,
Right.
I was. But I think going back to your question originally, I think that starts from the FA. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but parents take it, and then to get to the next stage to be like a coach and have a badge, it costs money, doesn't it? Does it start from the FA? I don't know. Whether
I think it should.
Level 1 costs a couple of £100. Some parents can't afford a couple of £100.
I totally agree with you.
I think it starts from the top really and sort of filters down, doesn't it?
I totally agree.
Switch a little bit, doesn't it?
And is level 1 good enough?
It's basic, isn't it?
It's really basic.
You're right for sort of grassroots at young age, but when you get to sort of probably under 15, 16.
I'd say less than that. I mean, I watched our under 10s, 8s a couple of weeks. Oh no, it was our under 11s. I tell a lie. And we played another under 11s up here. Fulpy took it.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, the quality of football was just mental. It was just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they are an unbelievable side.
brilliant side.
It was beautiful to watch. It was wonderful football. Both sides were just different level. But there's going to be a point, isn't there, where the dad either has to get his education up higher, as in like the coaching level, or I think he's going to have to take a little bit of a sit back and just and let the. But I think you're right. If the FA went, I'll tell you what, if you want to come and get a badge, we'll give it to you. You can have your level 1 badge. They don't like to jump through a few hoops, but I think surely to God, you're right. If there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of, especially nowadays. I mean, people haven't got a pot to piss in at the moment, have they? You know, if you've done well if you've got a tenner left in your pocket at the end of the month.
It's going up as well, but it's not even going down. Or
See, this is what I'm saying.
They're just going up all the time.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, to me, I look at it like that. I mean, there are certain questions that as a kid's, if you like, kid's coach, and you're a dad, you might have played, but you might have played Sunday League. You might have played dog and duck football, loved every second of it. I'm not putting dog and duck football down at all, but you might have played that. But your attitude towards referees, your attitude towards linesmen, if you even manage to get any, that is, that kind of thing, it might not be the right thing that you're taking forward to show the kids as an example. I know I probably wasn't the best example with my kids, with referees, to be fair. It's funny, I'm completely different with referees now, weird, isn't it?
Oh,
but I think, I think you're right, Cal. If they started maybe just saying, look, you come and do your level 1 badge free of charge.
Then it's
Maybe even level 2 to a point of free of charge. Or is it just a money-making thing that the FA think, well, that's handy, there's an extra 200 grand a year coming in.
Or even if it was like you've got to prove that you've been with that team for the last 2-3 years.
There's got to be some
rather
way
than any Tom, Dick, Harry turn up and say, I want to do my level 1, because obviously financially they couldn't do that. But if you can prove you've been with Free Bridges under 8 since they were under 5s or whatever, there's 3 years experience there. I'm not qualified. I want to get qualified now. I want to take you to the next level. Then you can do it. You'd have parents to vouch. Even photos and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I just think there needs to be some sort of.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the kids' tournaments as well. I mean, I remember when we used to go to kids. I think kids' tournaments got better. I think they've got more organised now.
I think kids look forward to them.
They look forward. Yeah, they're structured.
Absolutely love
it. When I go to these tournaments now, when I go and look at the kids' tournament, because obviously we've got, I don't know how many teams, 11 teams here, 12 teams, something like that.
Yeah.
I think 300-400 kids we've got assigned on here. Now I go to a tournament. And I'll go and watch it, and I love it. The kids turn up, they've got the tracksuit on, they look absolutely top draw. Compared to when we used to do tournaments, sometimes you'd have to actually. I remember one tournament, I can't remember how old my kids were, probably 11 or 12. We was playing over Bewbush, it was a Bewbush tournament.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Remember that one?
School.
Did you ever? Yeah, the school.
Oh, the school one.
You're
do you know?
probably too young, boy.
Yeah.
So,
But I remember that. I can't remember anything about the tournament. I just remember two women fighting in the car park.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, in the pissing rain. In the pissing rain, and so that's kind of my memory of a few things like that. And I have to say, from where we were 25 years ago to where we are today, the difference is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I think at this point of acceleration, we're going to really produce some pretty outstanding footballers. Let me ask you this then. Professional football clubs, should they be taking kids as young as 6 and 7 and 8 years old? Go on, Cal, let me know.
Yes,
Okay,
but I think they should be allowed, which I think they've just introduced again,
right.
that you can still play for your Sunday League club. So I think there's a boy who plays for Free British, Jensen maybe, who's at
Jensen,
Brighton.
class.
what a
I think
player.
he's now
What a
allowed
player.
to play for
He's
Free British
allowed,
on a
yeah.
Saturday or Sunday, whatever their game is. So yes, they should be allowed because the training's better, they're only going to excel. But then at the same time, you're not taking away the fun. You know, they like playing with their mates from school, don't they? Like Jensen, for example, he likes playing with whoever he plays with. I think if you're just purely going to play for Brighton, you don't know no one, you're 7 years old, it's a little bit different.
Terrifying
to
for him as
play
well,
with
and
your
it
mates
must be
from
terrifying.
school.
Oh my life.
There's pressure in it as well. Like,
Massive
there's a lot of
pressure.
pressure for such a young kid.
You go into primary schools, whatever, all they talk about, like all they want to do is play football, whatever, watch football, and like you got, I know quite a few kids that are at Palace, Fulham, whatever, and they all go around going like, oh yeah, I play for Fulham, I play.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I
yeah.
think it's kind of like a pride thing already, like in.
I do, and I like the idea that they play my personal thoughts are, I don't think you should play for a professional football club to the age of 12. I think then at age 12 you understand what you want. I mean, I know kids that are going up there not because they want to go there. Parents are absolutely gagging to get them up to Chelsea or to get to Brighton or stuff like that. So are they taking the kids into consideration, or does mum and dad want, or they can go back to their friends at work and go, yeah, my son or my daughter nowadays, my son or my daughter is playing at Chelsea or they're at the academy there and they can't wait to tell you. You know, but on the flip side of that though, you could be 10 years at a club.
Yeah. It's like false dreams.
And then you're,
Well,
look at,
yeah,
look
you've seen
at,
some videos come out about Palace. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Kids
yeah,
on
yeah.
TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tough, mate.
Kieran's mate done it.
Yeah.
He set it all up. And it's basically saying, you know, kids devote their whole life to playing football. They're at a club for 10, 12 years. Then all of a sudden they get released at 17. They ain't no education. They've been released from football. They're trying to play football part-time. They're earning 100 quid, 200 quid a week. 2-3 years down the line, you wonder why they have sort of mental breakdown.
and yeah, exactly my point. Exactly my point. Especially now we are aware of mental health.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, right? You know, be right open there. You've suffered as well in that department. You know, so you imagine taking yourself back, a young Callum at 18, and you just get chopped from Crystal Palace, or you get chopped from wherever, Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever it is. I mean, look at Noel. I mean, we've got Noel here. He was at Millwall for how long? Since the age of 8 to 18. Noel?
Yeah. I can't remember how old he was, but quite.
But then you're chopped.
He was chopped, and he went up to Margate. That's already quite a big
Yeah.
little drop, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive drop.
And then he went.
And in his head, he
Nice,
must have thought
yeah.
professional footballer.
Yeah.
You know, you must be,
Yeah.
in your mind, you must be a pro. So to suddenly get the tin tack on that, it must be absolutely gorging, I would have thought. I mean, I don't know, I was never quite good enough to even tie their laces up, let alone actually get into an academy. But I have to say, for kids football, which is what we're talking about, I still have a problem with kids of 7, 8 and 9 years old getting taken to a professional club, because I often think it's nothing to do with the kid. I think it's a lot of it is to do with mum and dad, that they're just so quite rightly. If mum, listen,
proud, isn't
I
it?
bet
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Listen,
As a mum and dad,
do you know? If my grandson Teddy went, and somebody spotted him, went, that boy's got a decent right foot. By the way, he has.
Yeah.
You know, a decent right foot. We'd like to take him to Arsenal, Chelsea. I'm all over it.
Yeah.
I'm saying this, right? I'm like, have him. I'll take him anywhere. Where's he from? Birmingham? I'm up there. Do you know what I mean? But the point is that. No, I'm not in that situation. I suppose I have a little bit more of a stand-up view from it, that I think these kids must be put under so much pressure. And what comes out of it if they actually don't get picked for their team? Do they actually come into non-league football a better player? I don't often think they do. It's taken Noel a bit of time, and now he's really found his feet. But you know, there was a period where I think mentally he was struggling with football generally. Do you remember Sam Fullback?
Yeah.
Sam Fullback, one of the most talented players.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Got tin tack from Brighton, I think, when it was Palace, one of the two. Got a tin tack from there. Unbelievable player, worst temper in the world. He could have a fight in a letterbox out there. But to be fair, he just gave it up in the end. He just didn't want to. He just didn't want to play. You know, I think the whole sort of thing about going forward and playing professional football, when you finally get chopped, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. Right, let's go back to you two, villains. Worst moment, I'm going to go for you. Worst moment of football. Worst moment in a Bridges kit.
Off the top of my head, like, I can't really think of many. I feel like maybe losing cup finals,
Right.
quite up there. To be fair, we were pretty successful in our finals, but I think there was one that we lost.
One.
I think it was.
Out of 2.
We put no, yeah, only 2. I was only in 2. No, we probably had. I think I was in quite a few. I don't know how many I was in, but there was big here. But I think there was one. I think it was under 15s maybe, and then we lost. And loads of my mates played for it. It was against East Grinstead Meads or something.
I remember it.
Stenning. That was it.
I was Stenning.
That was it. Yeah. Yeah, the East Grinstead Meads one was the one before.
Right.
I remember that. That was a good one. But we lost to the Stenning, and that was a 3-1 loss. Yeah, that was gutting. Yeah, that was terrible. Apart from that, I haven't had many terrible experiences,
Which is good.
in the first team. Yeah, I haven't really, none to blows off my mind. So
What about you?
It's a great thing.
It is a great thing. Oh, that's brilliant.
I'd
When we start?
You've got quite a few. So we could be here all night. But this we could sit
Talking
here
about the
for a
team,
little
not
while.
myself. Yeah, talking about the team and not myself.
Well,
I'd
we were
say-
talking about you. That's what
No, we'll shy away from that bit. As a team, I'd say probably Gresley away in the last 16. No, it was at home, sorry. We
Yeah,
played
it was
them
at
away,
home.
drew 1-0 away, went extra time. Replay on the Tuesday night down here. Went to extra time, went 1-0 up. They equalised in the 119th minute. Went to pens. It's on YouTube actually, it's worth watching.
Is it really on YouTube?
As I step up to take my penalty,
There you
some
go, it's on
geezer-
YouTube.
Some geezer shouts out, "Oh, here he is, number 5, that I hope you break your tibia." So, I mean, I won't
I like the
repeat
way they're
exactly
so
what I
technical.
said,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, nice.
There's probably kids watching this, so you can fill in the blanks, basically. It's all the parents as well watching it. But, so that was probably the second worst. And I think Lewis away this year, I think
Mate, yeah.
we're 1-0 up from quite early on in the game, and we defended so well. Like, they just couldn't get past us. I think Leo made off some great saves. I think I blocked a couple. And then it was the last kick of the game, or
It was
92nd
literally-
That
minute.
was a very good
And that
one.
Raz Coleman just cut inside me, absolutely big
mate,
one.
yeah.
And my initial thought was
Oh, mate,
yeah,
honestly,
it
that
was
awful.
and my initial thought was like, when I'm playing on Saturday, like with my knees, I'm not going to be able to play on Tuesday. So for me, that was pretty gutting. I think, like, I just thought, well, that was our chance to qualify. Like, we've gone to the 93rd minute against a team above us. You know, we
Well
defended
above
so
us.
well.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, that was it. And I just sat out on the pitch after, just like head in hands, knowing I wanted to play on the Tuesday. And played on the Tuesday, got MOM 1-4-0. There we go.
Did you think MOM on that?
Yeah, probably.
Shut up, probably. No,
I
no.
think it was me.
I thought he got MOM on
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
You've nicked that.
No.
Taking my glory. Honestly.
Google it.
I'm
Google it.
not
Google
good.
it. Someone Google it right now. Google it.
All right, so let's break this up. So, right, this is a big one, and this is probably coming away from youth football a little bit, but actually I think it starts at youth football. Natural leaders in the dressing room, natural leaders on the pitch. You often find if you're a natural leader in the dressing room, you've got natural leaders on the pitch. I've got to say, I've been blessed to have phenomenal leaders in the squads that I've had. You without a shadow of a doubt, big character in the dressing room. Kubu, big character in the dressing room as well. To be fair, Lee Carney, massive character in the dressing room. Breaking, these. Do you think, truthfully, that that's something we're seeing the back of? That nowadays, the big characters, probably a little bit controversial at times as well. Let's be honest. But do you think those characters are going now? Do you think the piss taking is less than it used to be?
Yeah, 100%.
Because it does start as your kids when you're in the dressing room and stuff
Oh,
like that.
100%. I mean, when I first I think I was 17, I just passed my driving test or whatever. I remember I'd come in and Breaky was playing at the time, and little Polo come in. After training, Breaky weren't training that day. After training, I come in and my hubcaps off my car were hanging up in the changing room. My socks were cut to bits, laces cut to bits. I thought, this geezer.
Yeah.
But you do that now. Well, there's no HR team, but it'd be taken further, and they'd be like, "Mate, what's going on here?"
Actually, we do employ an HR
Oh, we
team.
do.
We have to. Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
But no, it's like that's the stuff I like doing. Like, I know I probably do.
It's got to have that around.
I do some
You've got to have it
stuff,
around. Or is there just no sort of like team morale? Like there's no.
I agree, but do you not think it's going?
Yeah, it's definitely going.
Oh, for me,
It's definitely fading
probably
a little,
not so
yeah.
much for you because I don't think you've been a part. I mean, our characters in our dressing room now. You got Big Noel, he's quite a big character. You, most certainly, a big character. But you know, there were dressing rooms that we've had, Cal, where there were 4, 5, or 6 people in that dressing room that were loud, a bit aggressive, a bit shouty.
When I
but
first joined Bridges, obviously, when I first got my first team appearance.
Yeah.
It was, I think I was 15. And honestly, I was so nervous. Like I came in the changing room, and it just felt like there was a load of big egos.
which is about right there.
Which is probably and it honestly, I've never felt more nervous. Like I feel like now, if you walked into a changing room, it's completely different.
So how do you?
I think. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
I think it's changed completely in the whole of football from the very top. I mean, when you're watching the Prem now, you don't get Roy Keane's, Vieira's sort
I
of.
totally agree
Like,
with you.
even JT, like
Yeah,
you don't get
absolutely.
them kind of people in football no more. Like
My
I mean,
hero.
you look at proper captains for clubs now. There's no like strong.
I
mean,
sometimes
aggressive
find
captains.
it. Yeah,
really,
I find
are
it
they?
difficult to. You should identify a skipper within 2 minutes of watching the game. Would you
Yeah.
not agree?
Yeah.
And now, arguably, it's the best player he's done.
Arguably,
Like,
Most clubs are like that.
It
Brandon
is,
will
isn't it?
take that. You know that, though, don't you? Brandon will
That's
take
definitely the case.
not slowest, not slowest.
But I think, you know, personally, I just think we've lost that a little bit. I don't know whether I'm going to be a bit controversial and say that maybe football's got a little bit too wokey, a little bit too, you know, you don't want to upset
Well,
anybody.
you look at the refs again. Like,
But you can't-
You used to be able to tackle, now you can't.
No, but
I
I'd say...
think it's just when the game's changed though.
You used to be able to swear at the ref and they'll say, look, there's
Yeah.
kids in the, there's kids around, shut up sort of thing.
Yeah.
But now you swear once and you get a yellow or red card.
Yeah.
I put 2 fingers up away at Ashford, I got a 2-game ban.
Yeah.
So I said to the FA, if I put 1 up, would that be a 1-game ban?
Have they come back to you on that yet?
No, no.
Funny that, isn't it?
No,
really?
there's no surprise there. Yeah.
I've got to say though, as far as characters go, I think characters mean leadership, and I think that's where we do. But going back to your point about how you were shitting yourself about going into the dressing room, does that make it? We obviously carry a lot of youngsters at the club.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We bring them in, and I have to say, I think this year's been this year, last year, superb. You came from 18s.
Yeah.
Harvey Woolard, who's just been unbelievable. How long did Connor Colcutt, what a player he is. Leo Stoney.
Stoney, yeah.
You know, we could go on really, but I have to say, young Elliot for me, I've got to tell you now, I think young Elliot, I mean, he's just 16 years old.
Yeah.
How do you
He's
think
gonna
he
be very
felt?
good,
He's going
right.
to be stupidly good. How do you think he felt when he first came into that dressing room? What, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And do you make more of an effort
I think
because you've
yeah.
been down that road? That's you.
I do. and
You
I
would have
did
shit
with it.
yourself at 15.
But I think coming into a dressing room now is a lot easier to coming in a dressing room at 15.
$1,000,000%.
Like, you're playing men's football now, it don't really matter. Like, I was 15, 16. I come into the dressing room with like Dean Cardens and whoever else.
Oh my life.
And there ain't like,
That's a
he's
massive-
15, 16, let's
No,
look after him. It
no.
is like, you're playing men's football now, that's it.
Yeah, Carden would have slaughtered you.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Like,
Dean Carden for me was one of the funniest people.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
His wit and his humour, he was sharp as you like, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was good.
He loved the red card though, didn't he?
good player as well.
What a player, you know, absolutely. I think he's still doing a bit now at YM.
YM, he's still
I think
playing.
he's jumped in, yeah, a few
Yeah,
times.
he's 50, if you're watching this guy. 49.
49, yeah, he's not his 50th yet. But I think that, you know, when you look at characters like him, you then verbally sword fight with Dino because he would cut you to little ribbons. And you're right, when you went into that dressing room then, 6, 7, 8 years ago, mate, you were bashed up, you were slaughtered. So was that better or was that worse? Do the anxiety that the kids feel, because we've got to talk about anxiety, that's the new thing now, is the anxiety that a kid feels is less now, therefore they're more relaxed in the dressing room, they can maybe get involved more? Or do you think that baptism of fire that you walk in and you got a Dean Carden absolutely slaughtering you know, Ellis Hooper just constantly taking the piss out of you, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that's down to each individual, isn't it? It depends like, what type of kid you are. Because effectively you still are a kid at 15, 16.
Very
going into
much
a men's
so.
dressing room.
Very much
So I think that depends on each individual. I mean, like if it's a Connor Colcutt, I don't think he cares. I know he's 18, but I don't think he really cares about what dressing room he walks into because he'll tell you to shut up and he don't really care if he's 30 or 25 or 20 or 15. Like, he don't care.
So it's about character.
I think it's probably because he's
Definitely more
stupid.
about character.
It's
Yeah, he probably is a bit
different,
stupid as well, yeah.
I think it's down to the each individual. Yeah,
The dim ones, they get on all right.
yeah, that's it.
It's the bright ones.
Yeah,
done.
it's the bright. Well, I think that's what it is. Like, you look at most of them, 95% when you get like a little youngster coming in, like they go to their seat, sit down, get a kit on, do what they need to do, go home. And like, I think like that's something that is starting to get a little bit better. But I think.
Do you know, it's interesting. I was 15 years old when I first started playing football. Men's football, I was 15. And that wasn't rare by then. You know, back in the day, a lot of 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds played men's football. A lot of us played Sunday morning, which is where I started men's football, for a team called Fairways back in the day. And with a young, I think Darren Cook started about a year or two after me. I think he was 14 or 15 when he first started playing Sunday morning. And then his brother, Marcus Cook, what a footballer. Actually, the pair of them great footballers. His dad was playing, Pat Cook. He was playing at right back, so it was the three of them. It was the three of them, and it was a hell of a side as well, to be fair. But my goodness, we were young as well. And I think that, when you did, the only time I probably ever got worried about walking into a dressing room, I was probably in my late 20s. And I'd been lucky enough to sign out of they were desperate, they had to be to get me, but I went and signed for Horsham. My gaffer back then was Mickey Marsh for the reserves, and even walking into a dressing room of Horsham reserves at home, I was absolutely and I was in my late 20s, had my own business, family, everything, but even then you're thinking, Jesus, these are top players, you know, five of them.
It's just that next step.
Five of
them
them played first team the week before, you know, and you're thinking, you know, this is terrifying. So how a kid must do it is probably. So would we say it's better today for kids to get into, or you still think it's about characters?
I do think it's easier now.
I do.
But
It's definitely
again, going back to
characters.
each individual, but it definitely is easier now, because back then I don't think it was very welcoming for anyone. Where now it can be welcoming.
And clicky. A lot of football teams can be quite clicky, can't they?
Like
Quite
our
different
dressing
to get-
room's very, very easy to walk into.
Ours
We
is-
got
is-
great.
It's quite a young squad in general, minus probably 2 or 3 of them, excluding
Got
myself.
name names.
But Brannan, Kurt's got to be up there as well.
He's only 27.
Kurt's up there.
He's up there.
Pammy's up there.
Pammy's 29.
Oh, fucking hell, we're just chucking out the ages now.
It's,
The old folks.
Yeah, no, it's quite a young dressing room in general, so I think it's a little bit probably easier to walk into.
Well, you bring Elliot into it, he's dragged the age group right down, isn't he, to be fair?
Well, I think the other day, like on our, like you look at our bench the other day, I think
It was
I was the oldest.
You were?
20.
Yeah,
You know,
you were.
and that just shows like what.
But that shows what we do.
Yeah.
But I think the pathway that we've got here at Three Bridges is working.
It feeds through, definitely. I mean, I think there's been like 9 under 18s or something involved or on the bench this year, which is pretty impressive, isn't it? That's what you want from like a Sunday, like a
pretty
grassroots club
unlucky
feeding
in
through to
my
like a semi-professional team. Like, because you get kids down there that they look at players, not like me now, but they look at players like Cam and think, I want to be like him. But
I think, no, you joke, but I think he's right. I think a lot of players...
not sitting on the bench, but when he's playing, I mean.
brutal. But to be fair, kids do look up at their
Coaches as well.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Well,
what I was
coaches
saying about
as
that
well.
familiar face.
Yeah.
And I think like they go, oh, he plays for the first team. Like, oh, that's what.
it's a big thing.
It's a big
Well,
thing.
look at Leo, he
It's a
gave
big
away his
thing.
gloves the other day
Did he?
to young Louis.
He posted
Did
all
he?
over
And he posted it on social media and that, and he was loving it.
Yeah.
The trouble is, Leo turned up on Tuesday, he had no gloves.
Oh,
That sums him up.
Let's
doesn't
get a pair out lost probably.
it? Honestly. He is a nightmare.
that is Leo. though,
That
to be
sums up
fair.
Leo.
Yeah, that sums up goalkeepers.
He's
to
great.
be fair, he's a top. Yeah, he is. He's a top man. He really is.
Unbelievable.
But you do wonder sometimes, don't you, how he's going to get on in life. You really do. Okay, we're coming to the end. So let's ask the last couple of questions. Done the leaders bit. Best character. Then we're talking about characters. Who's the best character? The biggest character you can honestly say in football? From coaching, from players, from management, from physios, anybody.
Biggest character? I know people are going to watch this and be like, you only said that because you're next to him, but probably yourself.
Oh, I would say definitely.
I was thinking, Paul. Yeah, I was still going to say it first.
I mean, especially like on a personal level between me and you, like obviously we know what we've been through away from everyone else.
Oh,
Like,
we've been
had fights,
fighting.
we've had
We've
fist
had-
fights,
you've
like we've
actually
fallen
had
out, we've never
hands, yeah.
spoke for a year or two.
Yeah.
and then like we're best mates again,
Yeah.
and you know, like, so probably yourself.
Do you think it's because we're of a similar character? We're both pretty
Yeah.
big characters, aren't we?
No, definitely, yeah.
And you
So-
can't keep your mouth shut.
Nor can you.
No, nor can I.
So no,
You need that
probably-
last.
probably-
You need the last word.
It's
don't you?
probably similar character. You're like Marmite. There's plenty of people that hate you. There's a few people that like you. So that's probably right, isn't
I
it?
can't believe there are people out there hate me. Can
I
you?
can't believe that, Paul.
Thank you.
Sharon.
All right, Sharon. You're probably right, actually, at that point. To be
Yeah.
fair, go on. In biggest character.
I mean, I've had some, like, I've obviously been at college as well quite a little bit
Yeah.
with some great players, and I think one of my favourite players I've playing with quite a while is James Young. He's like, we've played together probably even against him. From when
He's
I
a
was
character,
about 12,
he's
so
great,
He's,
isn't he?
he's
He's
an
so
unbelievable
funny,
player.
isn't he?
And he's now like, he's one of my best mates,
Yeah.
and I think I used to play against him, and I used to hate him. Like we used to go up against. He was in East Grinstead Meads, and I was at Bridges. And we used to
Right.
play like we were pretty much rivals. And then I think we met at college, and then since then like we were like unbelievable mates. And then like he's just, you know what he's like in a changing room. Like he's a proper character.
He's funny, isn't he?
Like, and
Yeah, he's funny.
he's a young lad, and like he's just a funny bloke and just gets on well with everyone. He's got to be one of the biggest characters I've played.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a good.
he's
He's a good.
He's just a
man.
great boy, isn't he?
He's at college now doing statistics. Or
He's at
something.
uni, yeah. He's at uni now studying.
So even if you don't make it in football as a youngster, you can actually go on now to education. We're going to do a podcast on. I'll talk to Danny Lee about education in football because I think it's becoming a really big thing now. This whole
No,
education. I mean, the things we're going to just as we close down, the things we're going to cover in the next few weeks is we're going to cover fitness. We're going to bring in Ben Bacon for that. You chatted to him today about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
We're going to bring Ben Bacon. I think also we need to do more on the referees. I think we've got to have a referees for sure. I think you should be in on that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. No chance.
I've done it.
I'll never play again.
Oh, true. But I'm going to do more refereeing stuff as well. I think that's important that we do that. So yeah, we've got a few good things coming along, boys. I'm going to wrap it up now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
No
time. It's
problem.
been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for that, man.
Nice one.
Absolutely superb. So these are our boys. We talked about the youth football, their structure coming through. They're as loyal as anything. I couldn't be more proud to be their chairman. To be fair, so say good night.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Cheers.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
That is the end of this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified for more podcasts. Bye.